What's up, YouTube? Zero here, and today I have an absolutely epic endgame Sciel build in Expedition 33. In this video, I'll go over the skills that make this build absolutely phenomenal. I'll talk about the skills more in depth, then I'll get into the weapon I'm utilizing for this build. I'll also go over other weapons you could potentially utilize for this build. I'll talk about the attributes, and at the end of the video, I'll get into the Pictos and Luminas utilized for this build, which enhance it and make it even more epic. Before I get into it, I do want to say if you do enjoy this video, definitely give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more Expedition 33 content. I do a bunch of other RPGs, so definitely check those out as well. Thank you so much in advance for doing so. Something to note before I get into the skills is this is a Sciel support build. So we're going to be focused more on the support aspect of Sciel, not as much on the attacking aspect. So Sciel is going to be great in a team dynamic with this build. She's not going to be great on her own. She's not going to be great soloing. This is a support type build for a team. So without further ado, let's talk about the skills that make Sciel an absolutely fantastic support character for Endgame. First, I'm going to talk about the absolute best skill for Sciel as a support type character. That's Intervention. The targeted ally plays immediately and gains 4 AP. It's absolutely phenomenal, and I'll get into why it's an absolutely amazing skill for support Sciel when I talk more about the skills when we're going over some gameplay. Next, All Set applies Shell, Powerful, and Rush to all allies. Absolutely great skill to have. Fortune's Fury. Targeted ally deals double damage for 1 turn. Another phenomenal skill as a support type character for Sciel to help her allies out. Now, I'll be honest, as I'm playing Sciel as a support type character, I really only use All Set, Intervention, and Fortune's Fury. I don't use the other 3 moves really that much. I do have them just in case I do need Sciel to attack, but I only really use the other 3 moves. But let's talk about the 3 I have equipped just in case. Delaying Slash deals medium single target damage, 2 hits, uses the weapon's element. It also consumes Foretell to increase damage and delay the target's turn. Marking Card deals medium single target dark damage, 2 hits. It applies Mark and applies 3 Foretell. And finally, Grim Harvest deals medium single target dark damage, 1 hit, and it heals all allies 30% health. Also consumes Foretell to increase heal by 5% per that Foretell. So now that we've talked about these skills, like I said, I really only utilize the 3 on this side, but these are nice to have. Let's get into some more gameplay and talk about why this is an absolutely phenomenal skill setup for Sciel as a support type character. I want to start by talking about Intervention, an absolutely phenomenal skill to help set up the damage dealer in your party. Whomever that damage dealer is, it's really going to allow your damage dealer to play more often and hit like a truck. So the targeted ally plays immediately and gains 4 AP. And I am going to mention some of this setup and some of these skills with one of the Pictos that's absolutely crucial for this build, and it's going to be the Cheater Picto that I'll talk about in a second. So Intervention is pretty obvious. Let's say, I'm going to use Mael as an example, that Mael is your damage dealer in your party. So Mael gets the first turn, Mael's the fastest, Mael starts. So Mael is able to attack your opponent, and you have Mael starting in Virtuose Stance. So Mael is able to hit your opponent like a truck. Well, now, if none of your team has the Cheater Picto equipped, you go on to Sciel. Sciel utilizes Intervention and uses it on Mael, and Mael is able to attack for a second turn, hitting like a truck. So absolutely phenomenal. But now let's bring in the Picto I was just mentioning. The Cheater Picto, whichever character has it equipped, is allowed to attack twice in a row. So now, Sciel starts, Sciel attacks twice in a row, dealing a ton of damage. Now we go to Sciel, and Sciel, regardless of which skill you decide to use first, whether it's all set to apply Shell, Powerful, and Rush, or Fortune's Fury, the targeted ally deals double damage for 1 turn. So you can utilize either. I've utilized both in certain scenarios, but we either utilize All Set or Fortune's Fury. Then, if we have the Cheater Picto equipped, Sciel is able to go a 2nd time in a row. So not only is Sciel able to either apply a bunch of buffs to the team, or is able to allow a targeted ally to deal double damage for 1 turn, but then on Sciel's 2nd turn, thanks to Cheater that allows us to attack twice in a row, is able to utilize Intervention. So now, Sciel, in our previous example, is set up again to deal massive amounts of damage. This is absolutely unreal, and it's really just a rinse and repeat type of deal with Sciel. Either you're going to utilize All Set, or you're going to utilize Fortune's Fury, and then you're going to utilize Intervention so you can have your damage dealer attack again. That's why I pretty much only use those 3 skills that I previously mentioned. All Set applies Shell, Powerful, and Rush to all allies, and Fortune's Fury, targeted ally deals double damage for 1 turn. So you are able to choose based on how the match is going, how your other allies are, which one you want to really utilize, but you utilize either, set up one of your allies, and then utilize Intervention, allow the targeted ally to gain 4 AP, and attack immediately. And it's really just a rinse and repeat. And this is also all thanks to Cheater. That's why you need the Cheater Picto. For those of you who don't know, you need to defeat a boss called Sprong to get the Cheater Picto. It is one of the best Pictos in the game. Definitely unlock it. Get it to being a Lumina. It is a high Lumina cost. It's 40 Lumina, but it is absolutely phenomenal and crucial to Endgame, really, for any character. It's really a necessity, so I recommend getting that. But those 3 skills are really important. They're going to be how you set up Sciel and how you're really helping out your teammates deal all of this damage, regardless of who your teammates are. My typical team build for Sciel in her support type role is going to be Sciel, Sciel, and Verso. That's how I've been setting up my best team. Some of these clips you are going to see Minoko because I wanted to level Minoko up, but my main team, when I am facing a really difficult boss that I'm struggling with, is going to be Sciel, Verso, and Sciel. Sciel setting up the team, Verso and Sciel being my damage dealers. For those of you who don't know, the buffs for All Set, which are Shell, Powerful, and Rush, just want to give you a little bit of information on those. Shell reduces the damage received by a character by 20%. So that's going to help your team with their defensive statistics. Rush increases the speed of a character by 33%. So that's going to help with the speed of your team. And then Powerful amplifies the character's damage by 25%. So Powerful is going to be able to give your damage dealers and your entire team extra oomph when you are attacking your opponent. So it's absolutely awesome. So those first 3 skills pretty much all speak for themselves. This is a support type build, and you can see why each of these skills are great for a support type build. Let's talk about some of the other skills just as they are here, just in case. Grim Harvest is really nice. Of course, you have to apply Foretell to increase the healing, but what's really nice about Grim Harvest is that if you do need to heal your allies, you can do it. It heals all allies by 30% health. So if you are getting hit and you do need to heal your allies, Grim Harvest can be there, although there are Pictos and Luminas that can combine nicely with some of the previous skills to heal your allies as well. But Grim Harvest is here as a fallback plan if you don't have those Pictos or Luminas. Marking Card is really nice because it applies Mark to your opponents. Mark is phenomenal to deal increased damage to your opponents, so sometimes dealing Mark is going to be great for the situation. And for those of you who don't know, Mark increases the next damage received by the character by 50%. So if you do apply Mark, of course, this is a low-cost move. It's only 3 AP, so that's nice as well. You can apply Mark. You also apply Foretell. And whichever character does attack next, the opponent you're facing is going to receive 50% increased damage. So that's why I like Mark here as well, marking card, because it does fit in nicely to a support type build. Last but not least, of course, you would need to utilize marking card. This is the only skill in Sciel's setup here that does apply Foretell, but delaying slash, it deals medium single target damage. It's 2 hits. It utilizes the weapon's element. If you have applied Foretell, this consumes Foretell to increase damage, but more importantly, delay the target's turn. So you can slow down the target if for whatever reason you need to. So delaying slash can be nice here, but as I mentioned earlier, we're going to use all set, intervention, and Fortune's Fury more so than not. So that's going to be really the setup. Those are the skills in a nutshell for this support type Sciel build. So now let's talk about the weapon that really puts this build together and makes it even better. There are 2 weapons that I really like for Sciel when it comes to a support build, at least for the ones that I have. So Litheson is the first one, and it's the one I'm using. The reason why I'm utilizing it is because what it gives at level 20. Plus 3 AP on applying a buff or debuff. That's absolutely awesome, especially since we're playing twice in a row. We're getting plus 3 AP, so we can utilize our skills that we need to utilize. What's also nice is it does help out a little bit in terms of support for the team. We can see level 4 during Moon, all allies have greater rush. During Sun, all enemies have greater slow. Level 10, during Twilight, all allies have greater rush and all enemies have greater slow. So it does help out a little bit in Twilight as well. And it's actually really easy to get into Twilight for Sciel. The moves that I mentioned a little bit earlier, and we'll go back to those, all set in Fortune's Fury. We could just take a look at them. All set is a Sun type move. Fortune's Fury is a Sun type move. Intervention is a Moon type move. So utilizing Cheater, utilizing Fortune's Fury first turn, utilizing all set first turn, doesn't matter which one we use, and then using Intervention, since we have Cheater, we're going twice in a row, we're now entering Twilight right after utilizing either one, either all set or Fortune's Fury, and then Intervention. So we're gonna be in Twilight a lot when it comes to Sciel. So Twilight's abilities with Litheson are really going to help out, are really going to help the team and help you debuff the enemy and buff your team, as well as getting AP. The second weapon that I do like with this build is Litheson. Now this one, on Twilight start, apply Mark to all enemies. I just mentioned when going over Litheson, we're going to be in Twilight a lot. The moves we're going to be utilizing a Sun charge to start, and then we're going to be utilizing that Moon charge. So we're going to be hitting Twilight immediately. So as soon as we start Twilight, we're going to apply Mark to our enemies. That's going to be awesome, so the damage dealers of the team can deal more damage to the opponents. Hitting a marked enemy during Twilight doesn't remove its mark, so if Sciel is attacking and you're hitting a marked enemy, you're not going to remove its mark, which is absolutely awesome. And this is a way, since we're not attacking as much, to apply Foretell, because you also apply 3 Foretell on applying mark. So both of these weapons, the Litheson and the Litheson, both are phenomenal weapons to utilize when a Sciel support build is one that you're utilizing. So I love these 2 weapons. They're really phenomenal. Either or, if you're going to be going with a Sciel support build, these 2 are really great for this build. You can see the attributes on the right hand side of the screen. I know it's a little bit harder to see because I have these really bright outfits on, but I've gone max agility, max defense, and then I'm going to go max vitality. That's the last attribute I'm going into, but I am going to go max on it. Sciel right now is at 75 for me. Once I reach the max level, it's going to be 99 vitality. So I'm going vitality, defense, and agility. But now let's get into some more gameplay and talk about those Pictos and Lumina that are really going to help Sciel support build be even more phenomenal. I already mentioned Cheater earlier in the video, but Cheater is going to be an absolutely phenomenal Pictos/Lumina to equip, not just on Sciel, but on any character. Cheater is going to allow whichever character has it equipped to play twice in a row. It is a very high Lumina cost. It is a 40 Lumina cost, but it is extremely worth it. Another Lumina/Picto that you really want equipped on a lot of your characters is going to be Second Chance. You're in the end game. Second Chance, you revive with 100% health once per battle. If you are not good at dodging parrying, maybe you're just okay at dodging parrying, when you're facing those harder enemies, you're gonna get hit. You might be great at dodging and parrying, and if you are, you probably don't need Second Chance. But if you're like me and you're okay at it, but not always the best, maybe you're impatient like I am, Second Chance is an absolute lifesaver. So I love Second Chance. However, again, it's another Lumina that costs a lot. It does cost 40 Lumina. So that's just something to note. Those are two that are really universal, great on every character. I have them equipped on every character, but really needed. Next, I want to talk about a couple of very specific build Pictos and Luminas that Sciel should have equipped. These are very important to the build and are really going to amplify this build to make it even better. The first is going to be Energizing Powerful. Now, what Energizing Powerful does is it gives 2 AP on applying Powerful. Amplifying the AP gain is always going to be great for a support type build. You're giving other characters more AP, you're giving yourself more AP. However you can give more AP is going to be great, so you can keep utilizing the skills you need to take out your opponents. So Energizing Powerful, we already know all set applies Powerful. Energizing Powerful is going to couple very nicely with it because it's going to give 2 AP on applying Powerful. You absolutely need Energizing Powerful for this build. Next, Healing Boon, another phenomenal Picto/Lumina to have for this build. Healing Boon, you heal 15% HP on applying a buff. Again, the support Sciel build is always applying buffs. Healing Boon is going to heal your team up for 15%. So this is going to be phenomenal because you're going to keep your team alive longer. Again, coupled with Second Chance, if you are getting hit, you're going to want to try however you can to keep your team alive. Healing Boon is going to be phenomenal. Sciel is constantly applying buffs. Healing Boon is going to be healing 15% of HP when you're applying buffs. So just remember that, another phenomenal Picto/Lumina that's needed for this build. Last, another one that's really needed for this build, Protecting Heal. Healing an ally also applies Shell for 1 turn, so while we're healing our allies, we are also applying Shell for 1 turn. Another great one to have with this build. A couple of universal Pictos that I have on this build, some more universal Pictos that I have. Energizing Start and Energizing Turn. What Energizing Start does is you get +1 AP on battle start. You can equip as many of those as your Luminas allow because they are nice to get as much AP as possible. Energizing Turn, same thing. Energizing Turn, though, not the same as Energizing Start. Energizing Start, you get +1 AP on battle start. Energizing Turn, you get +1 AP on turn start. So Energizing Turn is going to be a little bit more useful because every turn you get +1 AP, but Energizing Start is great, so you can start the battle with a lot of AP. Next, I do like having base shield on Sciel. Not as much as the other characters, although it is kind of nice to have it on the other characters, but Sciel having it is really nice since she's my support character, so keeping her alive longer, to applying the buffs, to applying maybe a revive if I really need to utilize one of the items, if I need to revive, but keeping her alive is going to be nice. It's +1 shield if not affected by any shield on turn start. So that's base shield Lumina Picto. It's a really nice one to have. Can be universal if you are afraid of getting hit, it does kind of give you a little bit of a buffer. You can get hit once without taking damage. So I do like that. I do like having a shield on because it allows you for one mistake. If an opponent has a 3-hit attack and you're able to dodge 2 of them, but you get hit once, you don't take any damage because of that base shield. So I do like applying shields whenever possible. So I like having shield on Sciel for that reason. Another couple that I have, not as needed for Sciel, but still sometimes nice to have. I have powerful on Sciel. You'll apply powerful on applying Sciel. So that's something nice to have as well. You're applying powerful when you apply Sciel. I have SOS Sciel. You apply Sciel when falling below 50% health. Another nice one to have, not necessarily needed. Hopefully you're not falling below 50% health, but if you are, it's just a fail-safe so you take less damage when you're below 50% health. Painted Power, this is one that I have equipped on every character just in case, but Painted Power, the damage can exceed 9,999. For those of you who don't know, there is a damage cap until you get Painted Power that allows you to go over that damage cap, and the damage cap is 9,999. Painted Power, it's a very low Lumina cost. It's only 5 Lumina, which is why I have it equipped. Not necessarily needed because Sciel isn't going to be attacking as much, but I have it equipped on all of my characters just in case I need them to attack. Last but not least, I do have Tainted. It's 15% increased damage for each status effect on self. Again, it's another one that is not needed for Sciel, but I like having just in case because it does amplify the damage dealt. For those of you who don't know, Tainted, it's a really low Lumina cost, only 3 Lumina, but this applies for both positive and negative status effects. So it could be Sciel, it could be powerful. It doesn't matter if it's a positive or negative status effect, but you get a 15% increased damage for each status effect on self. And Sciel is going to be applying a lot of status effects, not just to herself, but to her team as well, which is why I love Tainted on all of my characters, because you can apply a lot of extra damage. 15% increase for each status effect, and Sciel is applying 3 with all set, so that is a 45% increase in damage if you have it equipped, which is why I like having it equipped. Very low Lumina cost, but if I do need Sciel to attack, it does help with the extra damage. And I also have Dodger. Another one, very low Lumina cost, but it is a really nice one to have. Not necessary, but it is really nice to have. Gain 1 AP on perfect dodge once per turn. I'm actually better at dodging than I am at parrying, so I prefer to have this anyway. I prefer to try and dodge, but if I get a perfect dodge, then I am able to gain 1 AP. And I mentioned earlier, AP gain is the name of the game. It is very important. The more AP you have, the more skills you're going to be able to utilize. And in Sciel's case, the more powerful your team is going to be to attack with its utmost power. So I absolutely love this one. But that is the setup. We went over the skills. We went over the sword. We went over the attributes and Pictos that really make this build absolutely phenomenal. Definitely check it out. It is a great support Sciel build for the end game. Let me know in the comments section what you think of this build. Do you have something similar? What would you change to make this build even better? Let's talk Sciel in the comments section. Let's talk anything Expedition 33 in the comments section. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you have a great rest of your day. And until next time, peace.